Welcome back to CODEIN. So as continuing the series of giving you questions that could be possibly asked in your exams and just an overview of a particular subjects, I am continuing with today's series including the important questions regarding DBMS or database management system, and also some of the things which could be asked in structured query languages also. It is useful for both the students like college students also, and as well as the school going students those who have opted computer science. So guys, I hope this content will help you understand some of the basic questions and also a summarized view of the database thing. And guys, I have already posted the previous video based upon the Java and also the full playlist in which I have different subject chapters, and accordingly the summary of each and every subject like C, Java and other is fundamental of IT and all. So guys, if you like the content what I post, do like it, share it and also subscribe to my channel. And I have already posted some videos upon HTML, Java and all these things are all available on my channel. And I'm also posting some quizzes and other content that could be useful for the exam, and also understanding the conceptuality and understanding the thing, all posted on my Instagram page. So the link is in the description, and here you can see what I have all posted over there. So guys, do like it, share it and also subscribe to my channel. So let's get started with the video. That could be asked in your exam is, what is a data and what do we mean by database? So whenever we are talking about data basically means anything which is in the form of raw facts. Means just we have some facts and figures and we have that in the form of data. That is basically known as data. It can be formed in number or text also, and it can be formed of audio, video, images, etc. Basically all the things that in a particular place, like maybe in form of audios, maybe in form of videos, or maybe in form of images. That is basically data. Like here I am giving you some data regarding the database management system. So this is the data, but it is useful information. But when I have declared into a form of text and explained in everything, so it is a useful information for you. So any of the data which is not provided into form of information, that is meaningless to us. So we need to understand what is data and what is database as defined in the definition. So whenever we are talking about database is in an unorganized data which has no meaning and which we organize in a form. So basically database is when we organize some data which is unorganized into some form that is understandable to us and efficient. That is called as a database. So basically when we are creating a database, we create a database with the help of tables. So that is known as database. We have different kinds of database according to the functionality of like the most common example of a database is like a student record. We can maintain a student record. It is a form of a database. Talk about database, we must know that what is DBMS, database management system, what are the advantages of DBMS, what is the application of DBMS, where the DBMS is used, and what are the database approaches. So basically when we are talking about database approach, in database the data that is stored into a single repository. Basically repository, what we mean, we call it as a file. Means all the data logical will be stored into a single file, and it will perform multiple programs based upon the type of program that we want to access to it. So to use the database, a DBMS is required. So basically when we are talking about DBMS stands for database management system. Basically it is a management system that consists of different programs and interfaces so that we can perform the database, manage the database and perform some actions based upon it. Suppose we have a database, from that we want to fetch the name of the student, which start from H. So that database, how we can fetch that will be based upon some different commands that are involved in the database. So basically it is database management system which helps us to manage it. So what are the advantages of database management system? It is organized and structure. It is a central repository of shared data, means all the data will be included at one particular place. It reduces duplication of data, means we have to record some data again and again, but it reduces the use of duplication. Like in the file based system, what we have to do, suppose in a organization you say we have to record different details, so we are maintaining again and again different files, and the file system, what would happen, we had to record same data again and again the file. But when you are using the database management system over the system, so what we can do, we can reduce the duplication. We can just store the data over there only and fetch that particular data. As you must be familiar also with the commands as you are learning about database, so that will also involve. I'll try to what are the components of a database management system. So basically what are the components of database management system? So when we are talking about the components of database management system, the components is divided into 4 categories. Number 1 is data, then we have the hardware, then we have the software, then the number 4th is the user. So the components of database, number one is data. So when we are talking about data, data is also classified into two categories when we are talking about database management system. So number one, the user data. It is consists of table that is called as a relation. So basically when we are adding a table in database management system, it will be called as a relation, which has some columns. Columns are known as attributes. The fields and rows are called as tuples. So this is basically the technical term that we use for database management system. The columns are known as attributes and the fields are called as tuples. Then we have the second data, that is the metadata. So when we are talking about metadata, metadata is that data that describes the property of end user. Basically it will tell us the type of property. Like if we have defined the at the top heading of the table that student name, so it will tell us the property that whole of the database in this particular column, it is a student name. Then we have a whole schema. So basically the schema is the structure of the table, what it basically involves. So when we are talking about that, so we will let you know that what the type of table it is. Second point, that is the component of DBMS is hardware. Hardware is basically actually the physical record of the database that is connected with the input output devices and keep the record in the system. Then we have the software. The software is the actually database management system which allows us to interact with the database. Then we have some users. So what are the different kinds of users? This is the most important. We need to know the different kinds of users that are connected with the database. So the users are, number one is the DBA. When we are talking about DBA, the DBA is the database administrator who has all the privileges of the database and can handle and assign all the things that are involved in the database. Maybe it's external schema, maybe the security, maybe the strategy, maybe the content of the database. All can be managed by the DBA. Then we have the database designer. Database designer will basically work upon the design of the database, how the table should be visible and how should be effectively visible. Then we have the third part, that is the application program. The application program are those for developing this application for different programs and how they are using the database. Then we have the end user. End user are categorized into three categories: named user, casual user, and standalone user. These you need to explain whenever you are telling about the components of DBMS. That is very important question, that what are different kinds of database management system languages involved into it. Basically the ways through which we can perform anything on a database management system all involve some different categories of languages. So the different categories of languages are DDL, then we have the DML, then we have DCL, then we have the TCL. So basically when we are talking about these four languages, what does each and every language do? Let me give you a summarized view. Number one is a DDL. DDL stands for data definition language. It is used for creating, modifying or deleting the objects like table, views, etc. So these the things that involved in it are create, alter, drop, rename, truncate. Create is used to create the table. Alter is used to make some changes. Drop is used to remove the table permanently. Rename is used to change the name of the database. Then we have the truncate. Truncate command is also similar to the drop table but some different properties. I am going to explain to you each and every properties in the video in which I am going to explain every part of the database structure. Then we have the DML. DML is the data manipulation language. It is used to retrieve, modify, insert, delete data. It uses different queries like select, update, delete, insert. These are different DML. Basically manipulation means manipulating the things. Then we have the DCL. The DCL is used to control the language. Basically it is used to grant and revoke, grant some permission and to revoke some permission. Then we have the transaction control language. Transaction control language is used to set a transaction, save a particular point, commit a particular point or roll back. This is a ER relationship. When you are talking about a ER relationship is the most important when we are talking about database. ER is basically the ER diagram. It is a high level conceptual data model. Basically it is a way through which we are designing a database and it basically describes the relationship of the data and how it is stored. Basically it is done with the help of an ER diagram. ER diagram is similar to like we create a flowchart and it involves three things, that is an entity, then we have the attributes and then we have a relationship. So whenever we are talking about the ER diagram is we know that it is used to understand the needs of end user. So basically the first property, that is the entity. Entity is represented by the set of properties called as attribute. So whenever we are talking about the entity, it will be represented by the set of attributes that are divided into subparts in a table. Then we have two parts in an entity, that is the entity type and instance. Basically the occurrence of an entity type, and entity set is the collection of instances, that is known as an entity set. Then the second thing is that is the relationship. So whenever we are talking talking about relationship, relationship is basically a relation between two or more entities. Basically, two or more entities could be any of the attributes that we have declared. And what is the relationship between two or those? It can be in the form of degree, cardinality, connectivity, and direction, like what they are conveying to us and what they actually mean to us. Then we have the attributes. Attribute, as we all know, it is help to understand the uniqueness. The attributes used by different keys also, like primary key, candidate key, foreign key. You need to understand these keys also. I'm going to give you a detailed lesson of these. This video, as I'm telling you again and again, just a summarized view, so you can just go over through these things also. Do understand what is a primary key, foreign key, and also a candidate key. And here you can see a diagram over here which shows the relation name, the entity, and the attribute. So this is basically when we are talking about a ER diagram. Hope you are must be clear about different kinds of things that are required for your exam, like different questions that could be asked possibly in your exam, so you are able to understand them and also execute them in your exam. Basically, you are able to attempt them in your exam. So these are some of the more questions that you should revise and keep focus on it, that could be most possibly asked in your database exam. So guys, if you like the content what I post, do like it, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to share it as much as possible and spread it as much as possible, so that each and everyone gets this video and understands it better. So do let me know in the comment section what more I should post, and thank you so much for watching.